For our final video of Scorpio season, I've got a few different aspects that kind of all plug really neatly into one another that I want to explore here in this video. So we're going to cover Mars's opposition to Uranus, as well as the Mars Cazimi and the Scorpio new moon. So this is where it all kind of comes together. What I prefaced in the Scorpio season preview about this being a big month for internal processes and big reveals. The big reveals are coming here at the end of the month. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, everyone. So this is our chart for the new moon on November 13th, 2023. As you can see, we are officially out of eclipse season. This is our very first Scorpio lunation that is not an eclipse since 2022, I believe. So it's been a while. It's been like 2 solid years of the lunations in Scorpio being eclipses. So we can finally start to experience a returning to a new normal in the Scorpio sector of our chart. So there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of change. So ideally by November 13th, we should start to see a new order start to kind of set in here. So we're planting some seeds. We're planting some very, very potent seeds in our Scorpio house. So as I said in our little Scorpio preview at the beginning of the month, you want to look and see where the sign of Scorpio is in your chart, because there's some Scorpio is a very fertile sign. So this is a very fertile planting ground right now. So as I said, lots of big changes in the last 2 years. And now things are starting to settle and we're starting to have some semblance and we're setting some new intentions here at this time. But before we get there, we need to back it up a little bit. So now I'm just going to animate the chart. It's still going to say new moon. Okay, good. No, it's not saying new moon anymore. So we're going back a couple days here to the 11th. So on the 11th of November, we're going to see an exact opposition between Mars and Uranus. The last time we had a Mars-Uranus opposition, this was in 2021. And we were seeing, actually, let me get the date for you on that because I do have it pulled up. Let's see here. Last time we saw this was in November of 2021. So ironically, right when the eclipse season began. And this was a month where we saw a record number of people quitting the job force. As I alluded to in our eclipse video, something that became like a prominent theme with the eclipses along the Taurus-Scorpio axis was people leaving, people starting their own job, people quiet quitting, just this detachment kind of thing, and having a deeper sense of value for our time and our energetic output. So I wonder what this will mean for this theme that we've been seeing with strikes and fair wages. You know, we're still coming off of this last eclipse. So what will this do? Mars's opposition to Uranus, as I said last time, corresponded with people quitting in record numbers, their jobs. So yeah, as I said at the beginning of our Scorpio season preview, Scorpio is a sign where we're kind of quietly planning, quietly plotting. We're setting our sights on something in a very passionate way, and we might not be the most outspoken about it until we're ready to pull the trigger and do the thing. So this is when we do that. This is when we make the big move. We've been thinking about it, we've been plotting, we've been planning. There's been a lot of things sort of nudging us into a new direction in our Scorpio house. This opposition is also going to tie in the Taurus polarity as well. So yeah, this is like, even though eclipse season is over, this is like a final stunt here. This is like a walkout, a liberating stunt. There's something with Uranus that has to do with freedom. So whatever it is that is going to honor your most authentic self, where something has grown to feel stifling, where something has grown to feel confining or limiting, and you just can't take it anymore. This is where you make the break. This is a sudden departure, a walking away. So this can be very intentional with it being in a fixed sign. This might be something that, like I said, you've been quietly planning and planning your move for some time. And this is when you do it. And it kind of has a shock value to it. And maybe you've been seeing it coming, but not everyone else has seen it coming. However, Mars's opposition to Uranus can also be extremely volatile and shocking. So there can be a little bit more of a charge around being accident prone, or there being some sort of violent outburst of some kind, some sort of rage, like impulsive rage that can happen. So just know that we might be seeing that sort of thing going on in the world. And if you're feeling like you've got a little bit of road rage, know that lots of other people on the road do too. So I always just say, with aspects like this, not to be in fear and not leave our house, but just to be mindful. If you see someone driving erratically, play defense. Don't race them, for example. So we can use that analogy in other areas of our life. Like if you see someone going through it, don't stare at them because they might lunge at you. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So people are really feeling like the pressure is on and they're going to kind of like an animal in a cage, like they're going to burst out. And so there can be some dramatic and spontaneous movements. Again, with it being a fixed sign, usually it's a little bit more controlled, but not always with an aspect like this. So that's something to really keep in mind. But this might be making that radical break, making that radical move, taking the calculated risk, taking the calculated chance, going out on a limb. This is all usually going to be a calculated thing. We also see Mars. Let's draw our attention now to Mars. Mars is moving into the heart of the sun. So some people would look at this and say, Mars is damaged, Mars is combust, but that is not the case. Mars is in its home sign, so it's technically protected in its own chariot. So this is still a very, very strong Mars here in Scorpio, but it's tired, okay? It's tired. So that might be part of the impetus for the break, is that we're worn out, we're tired, we're done. Something's got to give. We're just done. We're walking out, we're walking off the job. Mars is going to enter into the heart of the sun here in a couple of days, where it will be renewed. So this is a several days long Cazimi, actually. And the Mars Cazimi is opposite Uranus. So we're going to retain this energy of the opposition, of liberation, of freedom, of authenticity, of doing something radical, breaking the mold, doing something that others might find shocking, but it feels really resonant for you. We're changing our own status quo somehow here. So yeah, we have several days of this Cazimi. The Cazimi actually begins on the 13th of November, I believe. Let me just go ahead and... Actually, no, it is the 15th. So let me animate this a little bit further. So we're going to the 15th here. So we're actually going to see... I'm going to animate by hour now, because it does start on the 15th. Yeah. See, so if we're using the Cazimi definition of sharing the same degree, we do see Mars and the sun lining up with one another at 23 degrees Scorpio. We're also going to see that at 24 degrees Scorpio on the 16th, and at 25 degrees Scorpio on the 17th, and lastly, at 26 degrees Scorpio on the 18th. So we don't actually see the exact alignment between the two until the 18th. So it's really not until this last day that we see that exact alignment. So you see that the planets have switched places here. Mars has entered the heart of the sun and is reborn. So this is a very powerful Mars to work with. So this is a Mars that knows its capabilities, knows its skill set, feels strongly about its actions, feels strongly about what it's doing. And we're basically setting a quiet new intention here. So this kind of carries a similar energy as like a new moon. So we're getting this quote unquote new moon on the 18th. Meanwhile, we also have our new moon on the 13th. So think about this as 2 new moons going down in your Scorpio sector of your chart. So this is really potent with an energy of liberation. So if we go back to our new moon chart here, we've got a new moon in Scorpio conjunct Mars. Again, this is a Mars that is empowered, a Mars that is tired, but it is not damaged. It is a strong Mars, but it is tired and worn out with something and ready for a paradigm shift, ready for a new chapter. We have Uranus saying, make the change that you know you need to make. Do it for your sanity. Do it for your freedom. Do it for your authentic sense of self. And again, it's not going to make sense to other people necessarily, but it's going to make sense to you. So it may be some sort of calculated risk, and it might not be something that the world sees right away. This is just a quiet decision within yourself to start going in that new direction. So yeah, this is not, Scorpio is a quieter sign. This isn't necessarily the whole world's knowledge yet. This is just something that's quietly happening in your world for you. And the world will start to see it. Maybe they will see it with Uranus saying, this is what I'm doing. May depend on the constitution of the person, right? But I just share that because a lot of times people are expecting like a really big manifestation of energy on the Cazimi. And this goes for all planetary Cazimis. Usually they're really personal. And there's just something like a quiet but very strong voice, an inner knowing of, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what is being asked of me at this time. And I kind of have to take a 90-degree turn here or pull a reversal switch with Uranus. So yeah, there's some kind of big paradigm shift that's kind of coming in here. So that's a little bit about the end of Scorpio season. It might be drastic on some level. Mars, Uranus, we might be prepared to be shocked by some of the other sort of shifts in direction that we see for other people. There can be drastic measures with this aspect. So something that we want to watch for, especially during a time where tensions are really high in the world and there are wars actively going on. This is an aspect that unfortunately is, for lack of better word, explosive or volatile. So that's something that we do want to watch for. But hopefully in our own lives, it's making waves in the best of ways. So I hope everyone out there is staying safe and feeling supported in their environment and in their immediate environment, in their home, by their family, by their friends. And that is our last shot for Scorpio season. And I hope this season has been pivotal in all the best ways. And I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For a deeper look at how the planets are lighting up your life, you can book your next astrology reading with me, and we'll take a deeper look at your progressions, your perfections, your solar returns, so that you can go forward with a greater deal of confidence and preparedness about what lies ahead. I look forward to connecting with you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.